Just a rumor, just a thought, but not quite as preposterous as it sounds. There's so much history in Philly, remember, between Wentz and Foles and Colts head coach Frank Reich. Yesterday, Reich was asked about the possibility of a reunion with Foles. Here's what he had to say.
This is Carson's team, first of all. I mean, he's our quarterback, and we're so excited about having him, and he knows that. This team knows that. When we brought him here, for one reason. It wasn't to, he's going to compete, but it wasn't for. He's going to come in here and lead this football team. I don't mind talking about Nick Foles. I love Nick Foles. I mean, he plays for the Chicago Bears, and haven't talked to him, but I think he's a great player. I think he's proven that. I think he's a great teammate. There's nothing about Nick Foles I don't like. I think he's a winner. He's certainly a guy that fits our kind of culture, but he plays for the Chicago Bears. We're glad we got the guys we got, and we're focusing on getting our team better, and I'm excited about that and the players that we have.
Love him, but he plays for the other team. But I love him, but he plays for the other team. It was like fighting back and forth within his head. Brandon, what do you make of Reich's comments?
Listen, I mean, it's borderline tampering. He's responding to Nick Foles. Like, what do you want the guy to do? I actually like it. I think we need more of this in the NFL. Here's the deal, though. They're in a situation where it could go either all the way left or all the way right. Okay, you got Carson Wentz, a guy that I am high on. I'm high on him because I believe in the psyche of the athlete. I believe that an athlete, like, diving into what they need to tweak in the offseason or over time can get it done. A lot of people look at the body of work, a kid that's in the first couple years or someone who has a down year or a bad game, and they're saying, well, that's who this guy is. I don't believe that. But now he finds himself in another predicament. He's hurt, and he'll be on the shelf. He'll be in the training room for some weeks now. Now insert who? Are we inserting Jacob Eason, a guy that, they deemed as a project but has all the arm talent, spent all offseason with Tom House, guy, legendary quarterback guru, to work on those mechanics, work on the checks at the line of scrimmage, making sure he can read coverage. Now, obviously, Tom House does all the mechanics, which he needed to work on. This is a dude that started at Georgia. This is a dude that then went to Washington. They drafted him in the 4th round. All he needed was the stuff in between his ears, okay? Now he's with Frank Reich. All right, another offseason with those guys. He has a training camp. Now he's getting the reps. This thing could get ugly and go left for Carson Wentz. This guy can go out there and potentially Wally Pip him. Give you guys a little quick history lesson. I know you guys understand, as I heard you guys talk about it before, but almost 100 years ago, Wally Pip, he took a day off, got injured, lost his job forever, okay? So Carson Wentz is now in this situation. Jacob Eason, he's a project. We'll see what happens. Now, Nick, I don't know if they're going to bring in, and nobody knows if they're going to bring in another guy, whether it's Nick Foles or hell, if it's Phillip Rivers. But this team is still in a position where they can go out there and win games because of their defense and the run game. And I've been talking about that all week. Yeah. So, I like what Frank Reich is doing. He understands what he's supposed to say. He knows that his quarterback is a little fragile in between the ears when it comes to football, okay? Just talking about football. So he got to go out there and say these things, but at the end of the day, it's about what have you done for me lately? And if they go out, go ahead.
No, I was just going to, you say he's fragile between the ears when it comes to football. That's what I find so interesting about Carson. I can't think of many athletes that are allowed to be fragile physically and fragile mentally. Like, usually those guys don't make it, if we're being totally candid. And again, I'm not talking about his overall mental state. We're just talking about football. He obviously was unsettled last year by the fact that they drafted Jalen Hurts. That was, that was reported and then all but confirmed throughout the season and then in the exit. And Wilds, I find this really interesting because I'm going to use a basketball comp, right? So, Kyrie Irving's body is broken down at different times throughout the career. I think it's fair to say he's a bit of a fragile player because of his size and just his body type. Kyrie Irving's also a handful. Like, he's not, I don't think he's fragile mentally, but he's a lot to deal with. Like, we've heard that throughout, for good and for bad. He's a lot to deal with. But he's magnificent on the court. There are certain things he does better than arguably any player ever. You could say he has the best handle, the best below-the-rim finishing of any player ever. So you deal with it. I don't know why folks want to deal with it with Carson. It's like, we don't know if he's going to be available to us due to injury. And we also have to walk on eggshells when the whole league is built on competing every day for your spot. Nothing is guaranteed.
That's right.
So he doesn't do, it's not like, but when he's out there, he's amazing. No, he was amazing for 3 months, 4 years ago. So I just don't get it. I don't understand the fascination. And if I'm the Colts, I am saying we have, to Brandon's point, a great defense. I know Quentin Nelson's now hurt, but a potentially great offensive line, a good running game. We want to win right now. And if that ends up upsetting Carson Wentz because of the moves we have to make, that's not my problem. You said, go ahead. You said they don't?
But I see, that was my takeaway. My takeaway is that they don't want to win right now. Because if you want to win a championship, right now in all of the professional sports leagues, Brandon, we have seen how to do it. You go all in and you don't worry about your future. The Bucs went all in. They signed Tom Brady. They got AB. They got Gronk. They're like, we're going to win right now. The Bucs of the NBA, hey, let's redo our roster. Let's trade away some draft picks. Let's sign guys before we even sign Giannis to prove that we're winning right now. The Red Sox are like, oh, Mookie Betts is going to get us all. There's too much money. We're a small market. No, you're not. You should have signed Mookie Betts. The Dodgers like, yeah, we'll take Mookie Betts. And guess what? We bet we can sign him. They signed him to a huge contract. They won right now. What is LeBron James doing? Redoing the entire Lakers roster. You know why? Because I'm 36. And guess what? He wants to win right now. So why are the Colts worried about the feelings or what's going to happen? This is Carson's team. Hey, buddy, that's not right now. The guys literally might be out for 12 weeks. And you know what? If it was in a Vegas board, I would take the over too. I'm just like not a big foot injury guy. I just always nervous. Oh, it's foot injury. I get very nervous. Why, if you could win right now, why not just go get Phillip Rivers? It doesn't make any sense to me. If you want to win right now, you got a great defense, you got a great run game, you got a great offensive line. Granted, you had somebody just get hurt. But if you want to win right now, go and get the best quarterback, try to win week 1, and try to win week 2, and try to win week 3. It's not brain surgery here. Try to win right now rather than thinking about 12 weeks down the road.
Wiles, I'm with you, right? And I have that same type of mentality. If I was in position, if I was a general manager, I would embrace the LA Rams philosophy. Remember the Rams, they were like, we're going to go out there right now and get it done. We're going to get like #1 picks doesn't matter to us. Like, I'd rather take a #1 pick and go trade that away and get a guy that's producing right now. I can bank on that. So that's what I would do. But here's the deal. Chris Ballard is one of the best general managers, leaders, and managers in all of sports. We don't talk about them enough because they just haven't been able to break through. They haven't been able to break through because the bad luck with the timing, I would say, of Andrew Luck's retirement, coming in, taking that job. He thought he had his quarterback for another, 10 years? No, that wasn't Andrew Luck's plan. And then Phillip Rivers. I felt like Phillip Rivers should still be there. They couldn't get it done. And now you have Carson Wentz. They went out there and made a move for Carson Wentz, and then now he goes down. They are high on Carson Wentz. They believe Frank Reich is the guy that can get to him and lead him. They know his weaknesses. They knew his challenges in the locker room. They knew what he needed to work on in between the ears. So they were working on that. So when you think about now, you got to understand there's so many moving parts. You got Phillip Rivers out there. You still got Nick Foles. I'm trusting that Chris Ballard knows exactly what he's doing and he'll make the right decision, whether that's sticking with Jacob Eason, a project guy who spent all offseason working with Tom House and trying to get get in the right position, or if it's making a move in the next week or so for Phillip Rivers or Nick Foles.
Brandon, you're absolutely right. Frank Reich, that Colts team knew exactly who they were getting. They were getting a quarterback who was injury-prone, and he had an injury. They're getting a guy who was sensitive about Jalen Hurts and Nick Foles, and maybe that's why they're not so quick to rush Phillip Rivers back or bring in a Nick Foles. They're playing into the exact personality, football on and off the field, as the guy that they went out and got. So, you know, what are you going to do? He's out 5 to 12 weeks now. You're going to have to make some sort of decision. I don't think Eason is the decision if you really do, as Wild says, want to win right now. All right, we got to take a turn. Stick with some football because the preseason starts